The question I'm about to show you is quite tricky, as it tests your verbal reasoning skills. Which of the following sentences is different from the others? Hand me the bag, please. I am performing at 2 o'clock. Close the door when you leave. Put out the fire. Do you think you know the answer? Now might be a good time to pause this video and review the sentences to see if you can come up with the solution on your own. Did you figure out the answer? Let's continue and see how we can solve this challenge together. The way to solve this challenge is to review the structure and content of each sentence to make sure you know how to solve it. All sentences are what's called imperative sentences, with the exception of one. Imperative means that you're issuing a command. For example, hand me the bag, that's a command. Close the door when you leave is the command. Put out the fire is another command. Imperative sentences could end either with the period or with an exclamation mark. So choices A, C, and D are all imperative sentences. And choice B is different. Choice B is what's called a declarative sentence. I am performing at 2 o'clock. So the correct answer here is choice B. I am performing at 2 o'clock. Hopefully you've answered this question correctly and now know how to answer similar problems on the test. Let me share with you an interesting problem which tests your analytical skills. There were a total of 144 students who took a math exam in Milwaukee University, and 6/8 of them passed. How many students failed? And you have 4 different choices. Choice A, 34. Choice B, 44. Choice C, 36. And choice D, 46. Do you think you know the answer? Now might be a good time to pause this video to see if you can answer this question on your own. Did you figure out the answer? Let's jump to the solution and solve this problem together. There are 2 ways to solve this challenge. I'll show you the long way, and hopefully if you come up with the shorter way, which I'm pretty sure you would, you can post the answer in the comment section of this video. So let's first determine the number of students who passed the exam. 6/8 is 3/4, which is also equal 75%. 144 multiplied by 0.75 is an equivalent of 108. So that's the 108 is the number of students who passed the exam. Number of students who failed will be calculated by subtracting 108 from 144 and would be an equivalent of 36 students. So the correct answer is choice C, 36. Do you see the shorter way of solving this challenge? Please make sure to post it in the comment section of this video. This question is quite tricky, but I would like to show you the solution so we can solve this interesting and tricky question together. Which shape does not belong to the group? And you have 4 choices of shapes. Do you think you know the answer? Now might be a good time to pause this video to see if you can come up with the answer on your own. Did you come up with the answer? Let's continue and see how we can solve this challenge and get to the solution together. In this case, shapes can be grouped by number of sides in the shape. For example, you see that all the shapes in the left have 6 sides. If you count the sides, for example, in this shape, you will see that there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Same with the hexagon, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And same with the arrow, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the correct answer here is choice A for the pentagon, which only has 5 sides, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hopefully you've nailed this question and answered it correctly, and now know how to answer similar questions and problems on the test. Some of you might find this question tricky, but regardless of whether you can solve it on your own or not, you will be excited to learn the solution to this real live assessment test question. Find the missing number by imagining how the clock's handle rotates. The start of the sequence will be at 9 o'clock and it ends in the middle. You have 4 different choices. Choice A, 28. Choice B, 42. Choice C, 14. And choice D, 44. Do you think you know the answer? Now might be a good time to pause this video to see if you can come up with the answer on your own. Did you come up with the answer? Let's continue to see if we can solve this challenge and get to the correct solution together. Before we jump to the solution, I want to pinpoint the sequence. The start of the sequence is at 9 o'clock with the number 9. the next number would be 16. Next would be 23, 30, 37, then missing number, and then 51. Now let's jump to the solution. As I already mentioned, we are presented with the clockwise sequence. Following this sequence, we can calculate the difference between the next number and the previous number. For example, in case of 9 and 16, the difference would be 16 minus 9, 7. To calculate the next number, we can also do the difference by subtracting 16 from 23. This is also 7. This makes us think that the sequence might be incrementing next number by 7. If we follow the sequence, we can confirm that that's exactly the case. 23 plus 7 is 30, 30 plus 7 is 37, so the next number that we will calculate would be 37 plus 7, which would be equal 44, which is one of the choices. Let's reaffirm that our calculation is correct by adding 7 to 44. 44 plus 7 is 51, so that's the next number in the center. So the correct answer here is choice D, 44. Hopefully you answered this question correctly, but in case you need more questions or practice problems, please make sure to check out my ebook in the description of this video. Let me share with you an interesting question from the test. This is an exclusion test, so you need to know the answer exactly. Which expression does not belong to the group? And you have 4 different choices for possible expressions. Expression A, 9 multiplied by 2. Expression B, 13 plus 5. Expression C, 40 minus 22. And expression D, 32 divided by 8. So which one does not belong to the group? Do you think you know the answer? Now might be a good time to pause this video to see if you can come up with the solution on your own. Did you figure out the answer? Let's see if we can solve this challenge and get to the correct solution together. As you might have figured out by now, 3 choices out of 4 lead to the same answer. 9 multiplied by 2 is 18. 13 plus 5 is 18. 40 minus 22 is 18. And 32 divided by 8 is not 18. It's 4. So the correct answer here is choice D, 32 divided by 8. Hopefully you've answered this question correctly. Here's the question from the real test you can try to solve on your own. Baker received 90 orders of the cakes, and it took 30 minutes to bake and decorate 1/5 of the orders. How many cakes can be done in 2 hours? And you have 4 different choices. Choice A, 36 cakes. Choice B, 54 cakes. Choice C, 72 cakes. And choice D, 90 cakes. Feel free to pause this video and try to do this challenge now. And if you figured out the answer, feel free to post it in the comments and I'll give you my feedback. Thanks for participating. Here's the tricky question from the real test, but somehow I have a feeling that you might come up with the answer on your own. Which statement does not have any similarity with the others in the group? In your 4 different choices. February 2nd, 2020. Choice B, day 5. Choice C, was it a rat I saw? ? And choice D, race cars. So which statement does not have any similarity with the others in the group? Do you think you know the answer? Now might be a good time to pause this video for 20 seconds to see if you can come up with the answer on your own. Did you figure out the solution? Let's see if we can solve this challenge and get to the solution together. As you might be well aware, in English language, there are some sentences, sequences, phrases, or words that can have the same meaning even if spelled backwards. 3 of the items here fall into this category. For example, choice A, February 2, 2020 can have the same meaning even if it's spelled backward. 2/2/2020. The word deified will have the same meaning even if spelled backwards. Was it the rat I saw will have the same meaning even if it's spelled backwards. The only exception here is the word race cars. And what I'd like to point out, even this word will fall into this category if you use it as a single, not as a plural. Race car. So the correct answer here is choice D, race car. Hopefully you've nailed it and now know what to look for on the test in these types of questions. Some of you might find this question tricky, but regardless of whether you can solve it or not on your own, you will be excited to learn the solution to this real-life assessment test question. Here's the question. Determine the missing part. And you're presented with the 3x3 square, which has arrows pointing in different directions. In the middle of the square, you have the X sign, and one of the squares is missing the arrow, and you have 4 different choices. Choice A, arrow pointing in the bottom left corner. Choice B, arrow pointing in the bottom right corner. Choice C, arrow pointing left, and choice D, arrow pointing in the upper right corner. Do you think you know the answer? Now might be a good time to pause this video to see if you can come up with the solution on your own. So did you determine the missing part? Let's continue to see if we can solve this challenge and get to the correct solution together. As usual, to determine the next item in the sequence, we have to look for the patterns. And as you can see, both rows and columns have a sequence. So if you look at the bottom row, you see that the arrow points in the bottom right corner, then in the upper right corner, then in the upper left corner. So that is the sequence. It rotates counterclockwise. You see that the arrow goes from pointing to the upper left corner, then to the upper right corner, and then to the bottom right corner. You see that the arrow pointing rotates clockwise. And the missing piece in the middle is designed to confuse you. This is the missing piece. It would help you if there would be an actual arrow, but it does not exist. So what you see here is that this middle piece was put in place to confuse you and to show that there is no sequence in the middle row. So the sequence for the missing part would have to be reestablished from the right column. So we have arrow in the upper right box pointing to the upper left corner. The next one would be pointing to the bottom left corner. And then the following one would be pointing to the bottom right corner. You see that this particular arrow in its sequence moves counterclockwise as well. Let's recap. Notice that all arrows follow the sequence. Both rows and columns have sequences, something to look for, and each arrow points to the corners and is rotating either counterclockwise or clockwise. So the missing part involves finding the arrow that matches the pattern. The correct choice here is choice A, arrow pointing in the bottom left corner. Hopefully you've nailed this question and now know how to answer these types of questions on the test. Here's the real interesting question from the test that you can try to solve on your own. Please make sure to post your answer in the comment section of this video so I can give you my feedback. Which expression does not belong to the group? And you have 4 different expressions. 6 plus 6 equals 12. Choice B, 5 plus 9 equals 14. Choice C, 5 plus 6 equals 11. And then choice D, 3 plus 7 equals 10. Do you think you know the answer? Now might be a good time for you to pause this video to see if you can come up with the answer on your own. If you figured out the answer, feel free to post it in the comments and I'll give you my feedback. I will also post a detailed answer in my future videos, so make sure to subscribe and review my latest videos on the topic. Thanks for participating. Let me share with you an interesting question from the test. I have confidence that you might figure out the answer. Here's the question. The following expressions are similar except for one. Select one item that does not belong to the group, and you have 4 items shown on the screen. 200 divided by 40, 2 multiplied by 20, 0.2, and 20 out of 100. You need to select one item that does not belong to the group. Do you think you know the answer? Now might be a good time to pause this video to see if you can come up with the solution on your own. Did you figure out the solution? Let's see how we can solve this challenge and get to the correct solution together. Interesting question, isn't it? All of the expressions have similarity, as they all equal 20%. Let's take a look at all of them one by one. Choice A, 40 is a 20% of 200. Choice C, 0.2 is already 20%. And choice D, 20 out of 100 is 20% too. Except for one, choice B, 2 multiplied by 20 is 40. So it has nothing to do with 20%, especially for the answer. In choice B, 2 multiplied by 40, the answer equals 40, which is different for the 20% answer as we identified it for items A, C, and D. So the correct answer is choice B. Hopefully you've nailed this question and now know how to answer similar problems on the test. Let's look at the interesting question from the real test. Which of the following shapes does not belong to the group? And you have 4 different choices and 4 different shapes, choices A, B, C, and D. Do you think you know the answer? Now might be a good time to pause this video to see if you can come up with the answer on your own. Give yourself about 20 seconds to see if you can come up with the answer. Did you figure out the solution? Let's continue to see if we can solve this challenge together. As usual, you need to look for similarities. And in this case, similarity is being symmetrical. A shape can be considered symmetrical if it has a central line dividing both sides to show the same appearance. And shape B in this case is not symmetrical. So the correct choice here is choice B. This shape is not symmetrical. Hopefully you've nailed this question, but in case you need more questions or practice problems, please make sure to check out my ebook in the description section of this video. Let me share with you an interesting question similar to the ones you see on the test. I have confidence that you'll be able to figure out the answer. Here's the question. Baker received 40 cake orders and it took 45 minutes to bake and decorate 1/4 of the orders. How many cakes can be done in 1 hour and 30 minutes? And you have 4 different choices. Choice A, 10 cakes. Choice B, 20 cakes. Choice C, 30 cakes. And choice D, 40 cakes. Do you think you know the answer? Now might be a good time to pause this video to see if you can come up with the solution on your own. Did you figure out the solution? Let's continue and see how we can solve this challenge and get to the solution together. To solve this challenge, we first need to calculate what is 1/4 of the cakes. We do it by dividing 40 by 4. So 10 is 1/4 of 40. If 10 cakes can be done in 45 minutes, we need to calculate how many cakes can be done in 1 hour and 30 minutes. Because 1 hour and 30 minutes is 90 minutes, which is the double of 45 minutes, then it means in 90 minutes, 2 batches of the cakes can be done. And if we can do 10 cakes in 45 minutes, then we can do 20 cakes in 90 minutes. So the correct answer is choice B, 20 cakes. Hopefully you've nailed this question, but if you need more questions or practice problems like this, please make sure to check out my ebook in the description section of this video. Let's take a look at some tips and tricks to help you pass employment assessment test now in 2021. Let me share with you tips and tricks to succeed in the assessment test in 2021. Number 1 is be prepared to take assessment test at home. Due to COVID, a lot of companies are switching to that mode. Keep in mind that you might be monitored and timed. Also, if you don't know and it's not provided in the documentation, ask your provider or administrator how to handle bathroom visits and phone calls and other important things that are part of your daily life. Number 2 is research the company. Check which provider administers tests for them. Research the provider themselves. A lot of times providers might have sample questions from the test on their website. And last but not least in this category is anticipate questions based on the job position. For example, if you're applying for accountant job or bookkeeper job, you might be asked to pass Excel assessment test. Nothing new this year, as item number 3 shows, you need to practice, practice, and practice right before the test. The best way to do it is to refresh your hands-on skills and then take the practice tests. And number 4, last but not least, if you didn't pass, reflect after the test. Review test results, understand all of your mistakes, take notes, and use reflections to get ready for your next test. Let me share with you a tricky question which tests your visualization skills. Once you merge 2 objects below, what type of figure can you visualize? And you're presented with 2 5x5 squares. Each square has white boxes as well as shaded boxes. And you're supposed to merge them and decide which shape can you visualize out of 4 different choices. Choice A, chart. Choice B, shape. Choice C, graph. And choice D, animal. Do you think you know the answer? Now might be a good time to pause this video to see if you can come up with the solution on your own. Did you figure out the solution? Let's continue and see how we can solve this challenge and get to the correct solution together. Typically, what you do as part of visualization exercise, you need to merge all the shaded dots, like in this particular case. For example, the dot here is missing, and if you add the dot here, you will come up with the picture. When you add the dot here, the picture will start to emerge. You will also add another dot here, and then another missing dot here, and you would need to do it in your memory, because most of the time you wouldn't have any tools to do it on paper. So upon combining and merging all the items, you see that the diamond was formed, and this is the final picture of how the final shape looks like. And I already gave out the answer. The correct answer is the shape, because diamond is the shape, and the figure that combined from the shaded dots is a diamond. So hopefully you've nailed this question and now know how to answer similar questions in the test. Let me share with you an interesting question which tests your reasoning skills. Determine which two numbers come next in this sequence. And you have a sequence of numbers: 3, 9, 27, and then 4 different choices for subsequent numbers. Choice A, 81 and 243. Choice B, 64 and 126. Choice C, 72 and 265. And choice D, 55 and 729. Do you think you know the answer? Now might be a good time to pause this video to see if you can come up with the solution on your own. Did you figure out the solution? Let's continue to see how we can solve this challenge and get to the correct solution together. To solve any sequence type questions, you need to determine the pattern. And in this particular sequence, next number is calculated as previous number multiplied by 3. So you have the 9 calculated as 3 by 3. 9 by 3 is 27. So the next number after 27 will be calculated as 27 multiplied by 3, which would be 81. And then 81 multiplied by 3 would be 243. So the correct answer here is choice A, 81 and 243. Hopefully you've answered this question correctly. But in case you need more solutions or practice problems, please make sure to check out my ebook in the description section of this video. Here is the question from the real test you can try to solve on your own. What English word can you form using all the letters in the box? And you're presented with the 3 by 3 box, which has letters ETA, ECR, LEB. Do you think you know the answer? Now might be a good time to pause this video to see if you can solve this challenge. And if you figured out the answer, feel free to post it in comments and I'll give you my feedback. I will also post a detailed answer in my future videos, so make sure to subscribe and review my latest videos on the topic to find the answer. Thanks for participating. Let's review the question, which tests your verbal reasoning skills. Choose the missing letters from below to form a word using all letters presented. And you have a 3 by 3 box, which has 3 letters missing. What you need to do, you need to try to form a word, and to form it, populate these 3 missing letters from 4 choices presented. Choice A, ARN. Choice B, RDN. Choice C, IAM. And choice D, HOW. Do you think you know the answer? Now might be a good time to pause this video to see if you can come up with the solution on your own. Did you figure out the solution? Let's continue to see how we can solve this challenge and get to the correct solution together. So what we know, based on the instruction in the question, is that the word has 9 letters. Typically, letters in the sequence flow to form a word in these types of questions. So in this particular question, you need to start in the upper left corner and then flow from left to right, then from top to bottom, from right to left, and again into the middle row. And once you do that, you will see that the word president can be formed. So the missing letters are RDN, and the correct choice here is choice B, RDN. Hopefully you've nailed this question and now know how to answer similar questions in the test. Let me share with you a tricky question which tests your analytical skills. How many triangles do you see in the picture? And you have triangle presented with smaller triangles inside. And you have a picture presented on the left, as well as 4 possible choices. Choice A, 9. Choice B, 13. Choice C, 17. And choice D, 15. Do you think you know the answer? Now might be a good time to pause this video to see if you can come up with the solution on your own. Did you come up with the solution? Let's continue to see how we can solve this challenge together. Let me walk you through the process of counting triangles. First, we include the largest outside triangle. Second, we include smaller triangles. Because large triangle was divided into 4, we include smaller triangles, which are displayed here as 2 and then 3. Then we include each one of the very small triangles, 4, 5, 6, 7, then 8, 9, 10, and 11. And as a last step, we include remaining smaller triangles that have not been counted in the first place, 12 and then 13. So the correct answer is 1 plus 4 plus 2 by 4, which is equal 13. So the correct choice here is choice B, 13. And the key to answer this question is to make sure you did not miss any of the triangles shown in the picture. Hopefully you've nailed this question and now know how to answer similar questions on the test. Thanks for watching. I encourage you to check out our daily question challenge in the community section of this channel. I also recommend that you check downloads in the description section of this video. Please also check out resources page on our website, howtoanalyzedata.net/resources. If you like the content, please give this video a big thumbs up. This tells us that you need more content like this. I would encourage you to share this video with other people that might be looking for the job. This will help them to get prepared and pass assessment test faster. Please consider subscribing and following this channel. We have a community of great people helping each other to get ready and pass the test. Please leave questions, comments, or suggestions in the comment section of this video. And all the best on your interview and assessment test. Thanks for watching.